Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how I shot and edited this Porsche photo using just Photoshop and Lightroom. So the first step is to import all of your raw images into Adobe Lightroom. So I'll just show you what I've done here. So this one here is going to be my base image. So I've chosen the angle of where I want the car to be photographed from, and I've taken a single photo with no additional lighting or anything like that. And then following on from that, keeping exactly the same settings with the camera fixed on a tripod, is I've used a speed light in a big softbox, and I've moved it around the car in the different areas I feel would look better if they were lit from that angle. So like I said, I imported these images completely raw. The only adjustments I'm going to make in Lightroom for the moment is I'm going to enable the profile corrections down here in the lens correction tab, and then I'm going to scroll up and I've just made a few exposure adjustments. So as you can see, if I go before and after, it just gets the exposure to a bit more how I want it. I want the background to remain quite dark, so when I have the light on the car, so the car really pops out from the background. What I'm going to do from there is I'm going to hit Command C on the one I've made the adjustments on, highlight the rest, and Command V, which will paste the exact same adjustments across all of the photos, so there's no differences or distortions in terms of the exposure or the lens correction side of things. So once you've done that, you highlight all of the photos that you want to use, for example, then you hit right click and then you go edit in, but you don't go edit in Photoshop. You'll go down and open as layers in Photoshop, and that way they'll open all in one single document in Photoshop ready for you to edit. So now we're in Photoshop, you can see that all of our photos have been imported as separate layers, and the first thing I like to do is to label each layer relating to which part of the car you're going to use from it. So I've got the base layer, and then I've got the front and the sides and the middle and what have you of the area based on the areas that were lit with the flash. Once you've done that, you then need to highlight all of the layers. Just click the top one, shift, click the bottom one, and then go into edit in the menu, and then go to auto align layers, and then just do auto and push OK. That will just align all of the layers up so there's no difference whatsoever that will end up with you having two crease lines down the bonnet or anything like that. As you can see by the checkered around the outside, it's shifted the layers around on top of each other just to make sure that they line up exactly right. So once you've done that, now you need to start building your photo. So for me, starting with the front left, if I turn that on, you can see it's lit up on the front left and across the front here. And what you do is on the layer, you change the blending mode to lighten, and that will allow the lightest part of the image to shine through. You can then refine that by adding a layer mask and brushing in or out the bits that you do or you don't want. So for me, I just wanted to keep the bit obviously on the front left, but also I quite like how the light came across on the front of the car there as well. So I brushed that back in and kept that. You then rinse and repeat, so you just do the same process for all of the layers. As you can see, that builds up our final image in terms of how the car is lit. So once you're happy with that, now starts the sort of cleaning up process. I try and work on as many layers as possible, just so any mistakes I make, I'm not ruining an entire layer where I spent hours doing lots and lots of different things. So I've added a layer here for the white line removal, because I think that these white lines are a little bit distracting on the floor. So if I turn this layer back on, I've basically clone stamped out the white lines that were running along the ground here. And that was as simple as zooming in as far as I could go, hitting S from my clone stamp tool, and making sure it can sample all layers just so you get all the different layers of the light that you got in there. And I've done this exactly the same with a car cleanup layer, which is just getting rid of any distractions on the car. So things like these light marks or these light reflections from the flash here, and these little holes in the bumper was obviously where some fog light or something's been mounted in the past. I just wanted to clean those up and just take away any distractions. You put that one back on, you can see those distractions disappearing. And the final thing is a really minute adjustment, is something called dodging and burning. And that's as simple as adding a new layer using the new layer button down here, then pushing shift delete like so, and then changing your contents to 50% grey, blend mode to overlay, and then push OK. And that will add a grey layer like this, and then changing your blend mode to overlay or make it completely invisible. And then what you can do is you can lighten and darken very specific bits of the image by using a black and white brush on a very low opacity and flow. And if you look just across here above the door, you can just see a slight change in the lightness, just to bring up that crease line there. And again on the wheels, just brightens them up ever so slightly, just so they match the rest of the car. Great, so I'm actually really happy with how this is looking. It helps that it's such a beautiful car, but when you're happy that you've done everything that you think you can do in terms of making the most of the light from each exposure and clearing up any distractions that you feel would be better if they weren't there, you're then going to hit Command S, and that'll bring your photo back into Lightroom as it's done here. And then in Lightroom I've just made some final grading adjustments in terms with the colours and things like that. It's only very minute, a few graduated filters just to darken up the ground to bring more emphasis on the car in the background. And yeah, and that is how I've edited this photo of this Porsche. If you want to learn more about photography and filmmaking every single week, then why not hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and you'll be notified every time I release a new video just like this one. It's been great talking to you, and I'll see you in the next one.